sex life gone bad after sexual reassignment surgery. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. I don't mean to sound rude. TMI follows, probably. Content warning for sexual discussion. I'm a bisexual cis woman, my partner, assigned male at birth, and I got married 7 years ago. She came out as trans the next year, and I was fine with it because hey, gender has never mattered to me, and as we'd already decided on not having any children and I'd gotten a tubal ligation, most of the usual problems people run into. Like not being attracted to your partner post-transition due to being heterosexual, or being, understandably if you want kids, upset about not being able to have any kids or plan ahead for pregnancy, didn't happen to us. We fast-tracked her transition, like she insisted, and she was covered by insurance so it went smoothly enough. Estrogen brought about interesting changes in our sex life, but I was also not a huge fan of penetration, did nothing for me, so again, the erectile dysfunction she was experiencing on and off was not an issue to us. She didn't require breast implants, as she did have some tissue growth and push-up bras do the rest. I'm pretty flat myself. Last March, she ended up going under the knife for the gender confirmation surgery. I was worried sick because it is a major surgery, but nothing seemed off the first few weeks. She was in copious amounts of pain, barely able to function without Demerol, and it hurt me to see her suffer. But I'd done her research, and I stuck through, and after all, I wasn't the one in pain. The bandages finally came off, and she was horrified by how swollen and gruesome everything looked, but the doctor assured her it would heal. I was worried, but I knew how long surgeries take to heal. Dilation had to start pretty quick, and she was in so much pain during those sessions that I couldn't bring myself to do it at first. It hurt me to hurt her. Because she couldn't dilate by herself due to the pain, and I felt like a rapist. At one point I broke down crying and told her I can't handle seeing her cry and scream, and she had a breakdown and sort of hit me in the face with her bloody dilator. I'm not really taking that to heart, though I know the word hit sounds like physical abuse. It was not, it was just a plastic dilator and it didn't hurt, and I know she knew it wouldn't hurt. But at the time we were both so emotional, I told her not to hit me and that hurt her deeply. Because of course that sounds like I was implying she was physically abusing me. After that, she stubbornly refused to let me help her dilate until the next incident, and I regret my breakdown to this day, because that was really not about me. I hate myself for that every single day. There was a mild scare in the middle of her recovery, where the stitches on her labia kind of dissolved, but the surgeon, again, reassured both of us that was normal. She told me that it was because she couldn't see herself very well while she was dilating, and might have pulled on the stitches, and after a crying session from both of us in the car, she started letting me help her dilate again. The wound the dissolved stitches left behind did heal. Fast forward to 4 months later, and she was still a bit swollen and bruised, and during a dilation session she told me it might be easier if we just have sex during it. I agreed, and we started off with fingering, etc. There was a problem though, something I had noticed earlier during our dilation sessions, that I'd put down to wound healing, but felt far more pronounced in a sexual situation. The scent from her vagina did not feel normal, and when I went down on her it was something I couldn't bring myself to tolerate. I almost gagged, and I pulled away and told her she might need to heal more, and I wish so bad I'd been more tactful about it because it just ended in another breakdown, understandably, and we were both crying. She insisted that it was exactly like the odor of any woman. But I have not in my life encountered a woman who smells like her. We scheduled a doctor appointment and brought it up with him, but he insists there is nothing wrong with the smell at all, and so does my partner. But it does not smell alright to me, and it has grown stronger in the months since, to the point where I can barely help her dilate without the smell making me nauseous. I was also, still am, terrified something is wrong with her, and the scent is indicative of infection and she might die, and I've developed anxiety around it. It has gotten so strong that I can smell it even with her clothes on, and so has a friend of ours, which he wasn't very tactful about. He didn't know, and that again resulted in a joint crying session by both of us. Sometimes I push myself to perform moral on her anyway, because it helps her dysphoria and I too need sexual intimacy, but she also doesn't taste normal, not like any healthy vagina I've known. It's salty, bloody, and sour in a way like off milk, and I'm terrified it's pus. I don't receive any sexual satisfaction from any of our encounters, and sometimes I have to pop a Xanax before I go for it because I'm so terrified that she has an infection or something wrong with her that the doctors are not getting. And also because it's a bit easier for me to tolerate the smell and taste if I'm a bit drowsy. I'm not a drug addict, for the record. I just genuinely don't know what to do. I can't even bring up the smell with her anymore, because we just end up crying together. When I did so a couple months ago, she told me that my vagina isn't a flower field, either, and now I don't even want her to reciprocate the oral, not that it's easy for me to get off when I'm terrified my partner is going to die. I don't know how to approach this, I don't know what to do, and most of all, I want to know if she does have an infection that the surgeon refuses to acknowledge. I'm sorry for the long rant. I'm at my wit's end. Hi Amanda, I've read through some of the replies. This is not a yeast infection. It's dangerous to present it as such, as there may be girls reading this who won't recognize a yeast infection because they think that what you've described is a yeast infection. You are being manipulated into having sex against your will. Having to take drugs to have sex with someone is not normal. There are so many alarm bells ringing in your story. Can you talk to someone outside of this relationship, a friend? As an outsider reading this, it's clear that you are being abused mentally and physically. You need to get out of this relationship. You are the one that is giving. Your partner is taking. What do they give you? Get out. You need another doctor. Based on some stories I've heard, sometimes the surgery is botched, hard. And the doctor wants to chalk it up to healing, or lack of self-care, or a new normal because they know they can be sued. Please go see another doctor immediately. Something is not right here. This is exactly what I was thinking. Don't force yourself to have sex you don't want. You can develop a physical aversion, which can be hard to overcome. I like the idea of a second opinion, although I know it can be difficult to find doctors willing to help. You are being raped. This is the worst example of female socialization I have ever seen on Reddit. My thoughts exactly. It's actually heartbreaking. OP, your relationship sounds abusive as hell, even though you don't see it and keep excusing it. Just because your partner is trans, does not entitle her to have sex with you, nor does it entitle her to hit you with the dildo, and then gaslight you about the abuse. Please get yourself out of that situation. You are not required to sacrifice yourself on the altar of your partner's happiness validation. Right now, you have to pop a Xanax and perform mental gymnastics to have sex with them. Nobody should be expected to do that. It's not a vagina. It's an inverted penis. It doesn't self-clean, like a vagina does. How can it be a imbalanced vaginal microbiome, when it's not a vagina? The misinformation on this subreddit is going to kill someone. The reality is that it's impossible that it can be anything like a biological vagina. The smell, taste, etc. I'll explain with some details. To create a vagina opening for transgender people is to turn the penis inside out and attached against the prostate, and the surgeons make a way for the colon mucus to go into the canal of the vagina they created for lubrication. The canal gets a buildup of dead skin cells because after all, it is a penis inside out. If not cleaned, then it will become smegma. There are many reasons for these odors and awful taste. It could be smegma, it could be the colon mucus, it could be an infection, or all above. Now about the behavior, you're very clearly being abused. Your story was sad to read. You need to get out and seek mental help because I guarantee that this is causing you trauma. It would cause anyone trauma. It's a gaping wound. It sounds like it's clearly infected, 100%. It may not be infected. It may just be what it's going to smell like forever. Neovaginas are well known to have weird bacterial cultures unknown to normal biology. Life-saving medical trans healthcare. These experiments should be illegal.